to Protoss Power Hour. This is episode number 5, and on tonight's agenda, actually, before I get to the agenda, we have a special guest with us tonight. So we have Flatline with us. Flatline, you want to wave hello to all your adoring fans?
Hello.
And then, of course, we have, Bright, Starfire, and Primal Moon, who's currently stuffing his face.
I'm hungry, dude.
I'll be eating during the show shortly, too.
So tonight we're going to cover WCS Korea round of 16. We're going to focus on Reign's play in Group B. We also have WCS Korea Group D, where we're going to talk about parting, and WCS Europe, where we are going to cover Genius. And then anything else that really sparks our interest as far as WCS, NA, and EU goes. And then after the break, we're going to talk about strategy, PvZ, PvT, and PvP. So,
I think those guys want to talk about Sora a bit, too. I didn't get to see the game, so I'm not going to talk about it.
Well, that falls under the category of anything else exciting, so. Alright, so, Bright, do you want to take it away? You want to talk about Reign a little bit? Do you want me to put up the brackets and the group stages first? Or?
Yeah. Put up the WCS KR.
So we're just doing Reign and parting? Is that what
from the round of 16. I
don't remember the Reign games. I remember him versus Keen.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about specifically, is his Keen series.
I don't remember the games as much. Let me see.
It was a long time ago, since we didn't get to have an episode last week, so we'll try and blaze through what we know. But yeah, I'll start it off, I guess. In the round of 16, despite the fact Reign got bopped today by Sulky, which was kind of expected, I think.
Servo
I actually was not expecting that. I thought Reign was going to fight, but...
Well,
really?
after seeing Sulky bop Parting when Parting played really good in the round of 32, I figured he would have a pretty good advantage over Reign as well. But for the round of 16, Reign played really freaking good in the round of 16, which I guess maybe would lead you to think he was going to play pretty good in the round of 8 as well. But his games versus Keen, he did some things that oftentimes I think a lot of Protoss players overlook. Like, I know against Keen, like, normally even if you're playing a defensive style of Protoss, Reign actually flipped the kill switch, which we don't see very often. Like, he knew that he was in a good spot, and he was on, like, 2 bases versus 2 base taking a third Terran against Keen in the game on Yunsu, and he had, like, only a couple Colossus, like a really small army, but he knew that he was in a good enough position to do damage and to force a reaction out of Keen, and we've got a little clip of that. And it was just really cool seeing him pressure with such a small amount of units, whereas most Protoss players, I feel like they're always trying to be defensive when they're in that situation, and that was really cool to me.
You want me to play the clip now?
Yeah, if anybody else wants to talk about it too, that saw the games, or to talk about the other games while you're playing that clip. But that series stuck out to my head.
What did Keen do that allowed Reign to attack? Like, was he super aggressive and it didn't work?
Yeah, he was playing pretty aggressive. And, I mean, supplies were relatively even, and he was taking a greedy third. Well, not like a greedy third, I guess kind of a standard third.
Standard Terran third, which equals greedy.
Yeah. But, like, he did, like, the medevac poke, and Reign knew that he had, I think it was, like, 3 Colossi, actually, and he knew that Keen hadn't started the Viking production just yet. So, yeah, I mean, if you watch the clip, which is up on Field's stream, this was just so cool of a poke.
This is a hard thing to micro, too, I think.
Yeah.
When you just have Stalkers and Colossus versus Terran, it's like... It's not as easy as it looks.
And when he first started the poke, too, he only had, like, 4 Stalkers, which was just crazy.
Yeah. He added the warp in. It was very... I have a timing, I have 3 Colossi, time to go kill him.
Yeah.
When you're doing this, it's basically like the Stalkers are just for the Vikings, and you have to micro and only attack with the Colossus. It's like, it's not that easy to do.
And his force fields were so good, too.
How many gateways is he on at this point?
6, I believe. 6 or 7.
6, I think.
Yeah.
You were going to say something about this game, Flatline?
It is 6.
Yeah, like, the first game was pretty weird by Keen. Everyone knows Reign is probably the most, when it comes to playing defense, he's probably the best when it comes to Protoss. Then Keen tried to do some kind of medevac timing drops, but he had a cannon in the main and observers, so it didn't really do anything. Then the reason why Reign decided to engage is because Keen did like a heavy drop and he lost like 2 medevacs. And so you just went on to the aggression, and there was no way Keen could have held. Because he didn't do that much damage with the medevac drop in the early game, and then the mid-game drop that he tried to do.
So I want to
I
ask a
do like
question.
game 3, though. Game 2 was really good by Keen, but game 3 was really sick by Rain.
But I feel like game 3, that's the game where Keen did like the 5 Reaper, right?
Yeah, and he double expanded. He was like way ahead from Rain because Rain didn't even see the third base. Rain got a super late third, but
Yeah.
he still ended up winning just by playing very defensive, just Rain-esque style.
So is that the reason, like, you think he pulled back his entire army over one Widowmine just then? Just playing super defensively?
No, he did the
he won
damage.
the
Like, he already
game,
knew the game was over.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
and
he
so-
doesn't know that the third's up.
It doesn't matter.
It wouldn't matter because he lost so many SCVs.
True.
Yeah.
And all those units as well, and he pretty much preserved most of his units. So the next attack that Rain's gonna do is probably gonna just kill him.
Yeah.
And
I
really, the
think he's
only
just gonna
way
wait.
to lose against a
Cool.
Terran when you're really far ahead is to like attack in their base trade, right? So he's
Yeah.
gonna make that impossible by coming back. So
Yeah, he's just gonna pretty much play defensive, and then Kane's just gonna have to GG out of here. I think that's what happens. I actually
it is.
forgot.
But him pulling back also gives Keen the time to get these Vikings up. But I guess he
No,
is.
that-
I
that
mean, he's
doesn't
switching
matter.
into Storm, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
look how
okay.
many stalkers he has.
True.
That's the point. You complete your you fall back. You complete your
Look
tech
at that.
tree, and there's no way they can be going for Vikings and
And
Ghosts at the
Ghosts.
same time.
Yeah, especially off one base gas.
I mean, honestly, at this point, Marine could like go mass like Void Ray and win. So
So did you guys see anything notable about Rain's group besides that? Like, I mean, the Keen series is the only one that I really enjoyed at least.
he wasn't.
Yeah, I thought the
I'm trying to
PvP
remember
was
his
pretty meh.
PvP, but I don't think I remember it. So
Yeah, it was pretty meh, just like a standard PvP. I think one of the games actually, one of the games for sure. Trap played like a macro PvP, ground versus ground. Like they didn't use any of the new like hot stuff like Adrace or Tempest, and it's like, Trap, what are you doing? Rain figured out PvP 100% in Wings of Liberty, and that's what it was. Wings of Liberty, Colossus, into and Arc.
Oh yeah,
That's what it was. It was like, Rain, this is textbook, this is how he taught us how to play, you know, like, don't do this against him. And it was just, kind of that game was stuck out in my head because
that was actually pretty. Yeah, the game 2 was pretty sick. I remember now. He like proxy at a Stargate got caught. Proxy at a DT got caught.
Yeah.
and turned into a regular
Oh, yeah.
game, and then try to play Rain's game, which is like the worst thing you could possibly do against him. And he just pulled him apart with Zealot run bys and all that stuff.
I don't know how Rain won that game. That was like the most mind gamey game.
Yeah,
Like if you get 2 techs scouted and they do nothing, and you're on one base, you should lose. Like you just should.
But okay, if you want to go on to the next group, this was my group, man.
So this
Like,
is
I was
Group D parting.
Parting.
yeah, I was awake at like 2 a.m. and I was like half asleep, and then when I saw Parting play, I was like, holy shit, I've got to watch the rest of this group. Like it's so sick.
Parting's
Um,
builds were sick. Like his fast storm build off one gate. Like that's something only Parting could do. I've been trying it on ladder and it's not easy to do.
Yeah, Parting as a whole that day, like his PVT was so spot on. Like the games he lost because he took a risk and it didn't pay off. Like the game he lost to, was it Mario or Flash? One of them he went for like a really quick DT, and it got scouted like instantly.
Flash.
By a Reaper. Yeah, it got scouted pretty quick by a Reaper, and Flash was just like, "Nope, your DTs aren't going to do anything." And when that
That's
happened-
because they don't have that awesome speed buff.
yeah. But I mean, like, he was pretty behind. I mean, he still almost made a game out of it, which was really impressive, and it was on Derelict Watcher, if I remember correctly, too,
Mhm.
which is already a pretty tough map, in my opinion, for Protoss versus Terran, to hold your third, because the main can be dropped pretty easily from that big open area around your main, and the third can be dropped really easily, and then you still have to defend, like, the giant wide open area in between your natural and your third. I mean, he still made a game out of it, but that was the only game where I thought Parting didn't look invincible in the matchup, at least.
If
Well, I
anyone
mean,
wants
like-
to see some good PvT though, they should definitely check those games out because Harding, he looks like he's back. I would hope to say. We'll see how he does in round 8.
If you want to show the clip, we can talk about it more, too, during that.
Okay, go ahead, Flatline.
The storm thing is I think it's pretty easy. It's a lot easier for me than Colossus. You just have to get your gases on time. But like his the ones that he did on Derelict to Watch, he both lost on those. I kind of like why he decided to do those builds. Derelict to Watch is probably not one of Protoss's favorite map against Terran, because that third stretches you completely far, and that's what kind of Terrans like. They like to expand linear. So once you get that third base, it kind of opens you wide open for like mash drops and all that. And that's what kind of happened to Parting. Like he would try to defend his third, he'd push out towards the natural, and Flash would just, I don't know if it was Flash or Mario, but you would just kite and then you just pick up and you drop inside the main. Like the map's really bad for Protoss, so he's trying to do some kind of cheeky play with the blink, a 2-base blink build, and then he tried to do DTs as well. Both of them ended up failing, but
Okay, I
that
want
was
to talk
pretty
about
nice
the
for him.
clip that's playing because this to me was so cool. Like I've never seen Protosses try and do this. Okay, this game was Akalon, and it was like a base trade, Protoss versus Terran, which as Protoss you generally never want to base trade a Terran. And
Oh,
Flash
yeah.
had the army of Ghost Viking, which is Terran's like best army at this stage of the game. And what Parting did though during the base trade is he's like, okay, I've committed too much to it, despite the fact I'm losing almost everything. He cannoned up his third, and he put High Templars there for Storm. And then his whole goal of the base trade was just to snipe orbitals because he knew his Dark Shrine wasn't getting attacked. So he sniped the orbit, like 3 different orbitals, and then he did nothing but warp in DTs in his main to like defend and force out the rest of the energy from the main command center, and to force EMPs so that Flash couldn't EMP the High Templar at his third at the same time. And it was just so thoughtful by Parting to think that, you know what, I don't care if I kill your production, which is normally kind of the goal when it gets to this. I just need to snipe your orbitals and I can win the game. And even Tasteless and Artosis were like, I think Parting's pretty much dead. And then he's like, no, I'm too smart for that. It was just so sick.
It was such a nice play because I mean, he really took stock and was like, all right, what is the one thing that can help me win this game? And he's like, well, I have Dark Templar, but they have scans. So he goes and he's gunning for those command centers.
Yeah, that's like his
And
first
when he-
target everywhere.
And when it was obvious that he couldn't get the command center in the main, he starts just sending in a DT one at a time, burn those EMPs, burn those scans. So by the time that Flash gets by the time he's managed to push through the DTs, because a DT is automatically going to get you like 2 or 3 kills before they realize it and they can throw it on the scan, unless they're really sharp with it. And in the hectic of a base race and all the sound and noise, they might miss it. By the time they locate it, they EMP it, you've already got 2 or 3 kills. Suddenly, Flash is at 38 supply and Parting's at 79. And GG.
You want to try and drag Primal back?
He's back in now.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shit, Skype's being bad.
it's okay. But either of you two have thoughts on that? The way Parting played that game specifically, just more of that.
It was pretty smart by him. I would have never done that.
No, I definitely wouldn't have either. Would have like tried to just do some damage and then boom, and try and save what I could.
Yeah, I would keep my zealots there and then return with all my socks and try to keep my main or whatnot, rather than try to do a base trade.
I think his decision, though, is probably the only thing that could have won him that game.
Yeah.
Well, but he wasn't even really going for the base trade there, I feel like. Like, he was going for the tech that could kill him, or could counter the units that he was pumping out, and then just cleaning up the army. And that was pretty much it. I mean, would you consider it a base trade?
More complex than that, but he wanted to kill as much as possible. But and when he saw the type of army that Flash had and how much damage Flash was going to do with the army he had in his base, he resorted to the only thing that could probably win the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But he played sick as shit against Mario too. I mean, we're not talking about it as much, but Parting looked unbelievably good against Terran in general, and it was almost all with fast Storm or fast High Templar play.
Yeah.
What do
little
you think
flaw.
of his build? Like, what do you think of the 1 gate Twilight with the 1 Forge, and then getting the extra gates? Like, a lot of Protoss players do a quick Storm build, but they get, the 1 Colossus without range for safety. Like, do you think he's playing very greedy doing that?
I think
He
it's
is.
very... Go ahead, sorry.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, well, I think it's very good